I think what's happening here is the government is looking to get more control over those various agencies. Now, why would they be doing that? Well, one of the areas that we see changing professions and occupations is these various interprovincial agreements. So labor, and we've always said labor mobility, right? But there have been differences between provinces in the way various professions were able to establish themselves. For example, law. You can qualify for the bar in Alberta, but that doesn't qualify you for the bar in Saskatchewan or in Nunavut. So you would have to re-qualify in those various places. Now, if the government gets more control over how these organizations, these professional organized occupations are mandating themselves and organizing themselves, I think it makes it a bit easier for them to have either legislative sway or a sort of argumentative persuasion in getting groups to accept some changes that makes them fall in line with, for example, TILMA, which we've already heard talked about today. But I think pretty quickly what I'm hearing is that it's going to be far beyond TILMA as the government looks to agreements with other countries, not just other provinces. So what I'm seeing in this Act is a sort of backdoor way of gaining some legislative authority back. And they have ceded much of it, and it's worked very well. As the previous speaker said, that process worked very well for many, many years. And I think what we're seeing here is government attempting to have more control. And I am really interested in that, because this is the very same government that howls over a number of things they consider the nanny state. And yet here what we have essentially is the daddy state. They've got the boys inserting themselves back into controlling a number of delegated administrative organizations that were working very well. And frankly, I've heard no complaints, nor have I seen any legal reportings. There's nothing in the paper, nothing in the trade magazines that would be indicating to me that agrologists or architects or accountants, engineering, geological or geophysical professions, land surveyors, regulated forest professionals, veterinary professionals, that any of them have done something so terribly wrong that the government would need to sweep in and be able to have them reporting back to them again. So what's this really about? And I've seen too many pieces of legislation come through here with a great deal of government presentation about what a great idea it is and how it's going to do this and that and the next thing. And then we find out years later, no, it may have done that, but it did a whole bunch of other things as well. So because I don't know what this Act is ultimately going to do, and I have not had the questions answered that my colleagues have requested to be answered from the sponsoring member, I'm not willing to accept this. Every group that we have talked to has said, well, we already do this. Why do we need another law telling us to do it again? So I start to have questions about which one has supremacy. If you already consult under your own legislation, do you have to do it twice? Do you have to do it on the same day or different days? I mean, I don't mean to mock this, but what is the point of having duplicating rules that an organization is supposed to be able to follow? So I do think that this is government's attempt to interfere in what is supposed to be an independent regulatory body over specified professions and occupations.